Welcome back. In this new case, engineer services, we do not have an agreed final amount. Instead, we have a rate for the engineer's services, daily or hourly rate for example, and prices for the materials they will use, let's say specific cables, plugs, switches, machine oil, spare parts, etc. We will not know exactly what the total cost will be before the work is completed. We will need to work with an estimate here. The rates and prices will be agreed in advance, and what will remain provisional are the amounts of time and amount of various materials that will be used. They are as follows. Rates and prices of the vendor company. Engineer, daily rate, $120. Cable, 1 foot, $30. Plugs and switches, 1 unit, $20. Oil, 1 bottle, $37. Okay, let's add those to the budget file in Excel. This time, it will not be as easy as the first case. We add the different expenses in the name column. As we already know, these are quite different in nature. The first one, engineer services, is counted per hour. The second one, cables, depends on the length of cable that will be used. The last two are driven by number of items and liters respectively. To avoid confusions, we will add this information in the next column and name it unit type. Okay. The other thing we know is the price per unit for each of these expenses. It will be included in the next column, price per unit. We will add the prices and format it as dollars. Okay. What should the next one be? That's right, the number by which we need to multiply the prices. The amount of hours, length of cables that will be used, number of plugs and switches and liters of oil. But how to determine those in advance? Well, by estimating them. Similar estimations are a true part of the planning process that the project manager goes through. They need to look for information from colleagues who are experts in the field and have experience with similar work and similar expenses in this case. The project manager can also interview project stakeholders, the sponsor of the project, the vendor company, and ask for estimations, or other employees who may have valuable input. Research on the internet is another option, in cases where the project manager does not have access to experts. Finally, fellow project managers can be consulted and their lessons learned. Okay, once the estimates are available, the project manager can add them to the column. Hey, remember the buffers? Considering that estimations are not 100% accurate numbers, this is a particularly good place to introduce some buffers. As we have mentioned in the planning lessons, buffers are strictly dependent on the specific case at hand. The more uncertainty there is around a given estimation, the bigger the buffer to be added. In this example, I will increase the numbers, provided I am familiar with all these activities. The estimated hours of the engineer, for example, are estimated at 37, so I decide to increase it to 40 for my budget. I do the same for all other lines, considering their specific reality. Okay. We are ready to proceed with calculating the final budget in the next video. See you in a second.